All right, Rich Graeff. Yeah, I just want to keep on with our conversation that we were going with because you mentioned PEDs. Um, I don't know if those are well, steroids, I guess. I don't know if steroids are necessarily a bad thing. I feel like they've been in sports, right? I mean, you don't necessarily want them in sports with like fighting and stuff where you could hurt somebody. But I feel like like steroids have been really villainized. You ever
Well,
thought about that?
yeah, I,
Because I'm gonna take steroids when I get older.
I,
100%.
I don't mind. I
There's no
don't,
question.
like I was saying, after my surgery in 2011, um, I was, I was focused on competing. I would train between, I was in the gym every day, 10 to 14 times a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be there at 5:30 in the morning, and I wouldn't leave there till 9 o'clock at night. And there'd be rest, and we train at 5:30. We go home, we get some breakfast, come back for a noon class.
Yeah.
Then we go to like Schnucks and get a big buffet, carrots and
Just eat everything.
hummus and just good foods, and train. Do some conditioning after our stomach settled, and then train at night. And so it takes a toll on the body. So after after I injured my shoulder, Nick Schrock came over to train and ended up tearing my labrum,
Ooh.
and I got surgery on that. And I still went and competed after he tore my shoulder, 2011 Pan Ams, and I made it to the quarterfinals. And I think I sustained one more tear in
During
that
that.
in that match. So
What belt were you at this time?
I had just got my purple belt.
Okay.
So I got my purple belt in August of 2010. So this was March 2011. So Dr. Corey Solman was like, "Okay, we're going to schedule this surgery," and I was like, "I can't do it that date." He said, "Why?" And I said, "I'll be in California competing." He goes, "I'm worried that your arm's going to be out of socket or you're dangling or whatever." And I said, "Well, that's just the chance we're going to take.
Yeah.
Everything's already paid for." And my buddy that I used to train with, Dave Copeland, he was on the verge of getting his purple belt, and I wanted him to compete at a large tournament to show our instructor, hey, he's ready for the next level, but financially couldn't afford it. So I paid for the whole shebang.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't let him pay for anything. I'd
Oh,
go out there,
shit.
have a good time, and he won. And he had three tough matches, just horrendous matches. But I went out there, tore my shoulder one more time. So I had three tears in my labrum, and I came back, and he did the surgery, and he's very aggressive. He goes, "You'll be on the mat by the end of the year."
Oh,
So
nice.
I was really afraid to rehab it,
Mm-hmm.
and I used unconventional means to rehab it. I didn't go to a doctor or anything. When I felt it was tight enough, I just started it because I owned a demolition company at the time,
Okay.
and we had a deadline on this job down on Washington Avenue, and I just had two guys on the job, and they were just beat to hell. It was hot in the basement, and you got torches going, and one guy huffing out 200-300 pound pieces of iron. And here I am sitting in my truck in the air conditioning doing books, and I'm like, man, you're a piece of shit. Get down there and help your guy, lead from the front.
Yeah.
So I ran downstairs and started huffing these up, 200, maybe 100, 250 pound
Shit, dude.
valves, and I'm just dead arming it.
This was after surgery?
This is probably, let's see, I got surgery in May, so it was probably October, November.
Okay.
So I should have already been rehabbing it, but I was being a pussy, is what I was being.
Oh, so you weren't doing like any sort of stretching or anything
No,
prior to
I didn't
that?
do shit.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that was about 5 months. So you're probably, yeah, not really like an injury. I mean, you weren't really at like a huge chance of like you said, it was tight already. It was already healed, but you just have any range of motion, I
I
imagine.
had my range of motion was horrible.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, I mean, I couldn't scratch my back, couldn't.
Yeah, I tore my labrum and rotator cuff in 2000, right at the end of 2015, and I had surgery at
Okay.
the beginning of 2016. And ever since then, I've just been religiously trying to make sure I have like my range of motion and mobility in my shoulders. It was like it set me on the path of like mobility and stretching.
You know how nasty that
Oh,
surgery is.
oh,
It's
dude. Dude, yeah, and then like you get the surgery, and I did go to PT. Like I think I had the surgery on like a Thursday or Friday, and I went to PT on Monday, and he's like taking my arm and like moving it and shit. I'm like, bro, I just had surgery. What the fuck you doing? Like this doesn't feel good, but I guess it's okay. I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
I I went in for a follow up, and I'm like, he's like, look at your range of motion, look how good you're doing. And I told him what I did. He goes, man, you're crazy. And I said, I want something more though. And so we talked about, steroids, and he wasn't going to prescribe them, but there's a line he didn't want to cross, and there's a
yeah,
line I didn't want him to cross, and just tell me what I could do, and
yeah,
what have you heard,
yeah.
so.
Hypothetically speaking.
So I did like one cycle,
Hmm.
and it I guess it repaired it. I haven't had any problems with it
No issue
since.
since.
So but then everybody in the world wanted to know, oh yeah, what are you doing? Let's talk about
Yeah,
Rich Graeff does steroids. I'm like, I did it one time, man, and that was
yeah,
just to you know get my shoulder where it needed to be. And I went into 2012, and it was the best year I ever had in jiu-jitsu. So I mean, I basically I won everything. A double gold at Pans, and went to Brazil and fought down there in CBJJ Worlds and won. So
yeah. That's awesome.
I mean,
This is all you're still a purple belt all at this
I was
time,
still a
right?
purple belt, right?
Yeah, that's a successful like year as a purple belt, man.
It was. I want to get in a time machine and go back,
Yeah,
because I think that's when I was still really developing my game back then, but I don't know. I was in a really happy place. I was in a fun place. I was learning a lot. I was
yeah,
training a lot. It was a family to me. And you know, I'd love to rewind back to 2012, but that's not possible.
yeah. Time
So
only goes one way,
time
huh?
only goes one way, right?
Yeah, dude, man, you've had a very interesting journey with jujitsu. Just kind of from what I've heard a little bit, but I don't. I mean, I only have like very like fraction like pieces. So why don't you like kind of take me back to like the beginning, if you will,
Okay.
to kind of where things started for you with it all.
That works for me. Brian Gidry and I wrestled in college together, and I saw him, God, 2000, 2001, downtown on Washington Avenue, and he started telling me about his training, he's fighting and this and that. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I think from that time to about 2006, when I finally started, he told me he was with Rodrigo Vaghi, and I probably had called Rodrigo on the phone 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Yeah, I really want to train. Well, come on in, buddy. Try a class and this and that.
Uh,
I mean, it was the same. It was the same exchange every time I called.
yeah.
So it's like this guy's gonna be like, "Fuck,
It's like,
dude."
come on in, dude.
Right. So I I gave Brian a shot and went down there and started training down at North Broadway, and it was great, man. We fucking in the summertime we had no air.
Hmm.
In the wintertime we had no fucking heat. I mean, we were using propane heaters.
Yeah, and this is what you said on North Broadway, right?
Yeah,
The
North
first spot.
Broadway. Yeah,
Yeah.
his first spot at above Shady Jack's. Jack Larison, good friend of mine. I've known Jack for years, so that made it even better,
Hmm.
But and I slowly migrated. I started cross training. I started going to the main academy, and I started cross training there, and that's when I got reconnected with Mike Rogers. Fuck, I can't say enough good things about Mike. Love the guy to death. Todd Fox, Tracy Taylor, John Mankey, all have influenced me, in a positive way. I remember the first and the only time I asked about rank.
Yeah.
First and the only time Tracy said, "Train without expectation."
Yeah, that's the phrase.
Train without expectation. If your goals are making rank, go do something else. So, and that always stuck with me. And after training a couple months, I'm like, fuck, I want to compete. I want to compete. So my buddy worked for American Airlines. So I'm like, well, let's go to Miami. Let's do a Naga Miami. So I'm like, hey, John Menke, you want to go? Because I was learning a lot from him at the time. And, excuse me. So we flew down there for free, first class. Well, John actually got booted back to coach because in order to fly first class, you have to dress up. Well, you know Mankey, and he showed up in some fucking board shorts and
Like
flip-flops.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Did he have long hair at that time still?
it wasn't too long.
Okay.
No, it was still in the growing process, but he gets up to the ticket counter and they're like, you have to ride and coach, you know? So, we get down there. We had a great time. Tracy actually came down there. But I remember watching John Mankey as a purple belt. I think he was a 4-stripe purple belt at the time. And just what he could do amazed me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, am I ever going to be able to? Because I've always doubted myself, you know, in learning this. I'm like, I'll never be a blue belt, or I'll never learn this. I'll never learn. Because, you know, and then what is explained to me is it's a fucking marathon. It's not a sprint. So take your time and relax and just learn bits and pieces slowly, put them together. And, but I remember Mankey just fucking demolishing brown and black belts down there. And
Yeah,
I'm
he's
like,
slick.
holy fuck. Yeah, he's amazing. But, you know, and what good coaches though. Tracy and John on the side of the mat when I was competing. And I think I had about 14 matches that weekend. That was back when you could sign up for multiple divisions.
Oh, really?
So I had signed up for 4 divisions. I think I competed in 3. It was just like match after match after match. And I just remember them, you know, and I still didn't know a whole lot. And I think the most of my submissions were some move John had just told me.
Yeah.
And I remember in a match, the side, you know, the guy's team was yelling, oh, he's only got that one fucking move. And then Mankey and Tracy, it was like almost a skirmish on the side of the mat. And, you know, but it was fun. That was my first tournament. And then I think I did 14 tournaments in 12 months.
Oh shit. Yeah, you're active.
Got my blue belt. Sorry if I ramble.
No, you're fine. No, yeah, that's a lot of tournaments because that wasn't that like during that time there weren't a lot of circuits around.
No, and the good thing. Let me rewind here. I made a good connection at that Naga Miami, with Kip Kohler, with Joe Cuff, John Hagopian, and from then on, the reason I was able to compete so much is I'd go there and work, and then they'd let me compete. They'd pay for my hotel, they'd pay for my flight.
Yeah.
Some of my food. So, but I got my blue belt in August. It was actually on my birthday. I got my blue belt, and
So were you at Rodrigo's at this time, or
I was at Rodrigo's. Yeah, I had kind of migrated over there. I don't know how that came to be, but I migrated over there, was training, and I remember we were getting ready for the Worlds. It's the first year they had the Worlds in the United States. And I think they were doing a CrossFit fundraiser to raise money to get more people to go there. And Rodrigo called me up and goes, buddy, where are you? We're having this fundraiser. I expected you to be here. And I'm like, I'm down in Florida. I'm competing at the Naga. He goes, okay, I got one more thing. August 4th, you're going to test for your blue belt. And I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't think I was going to, you know, I train without expectation. I never thought that, you know, I was ready for it. So I'm like, well, I can't argue with him. He's the boss.
Yeah.
So got my blue belt. 2-3 weeks later, we're in, I mean, we took 30 something people, I think. And I think the only person to train, Rogers was really close to placing. I think Brazilian Mike was close to placing, but Tracy took third.
Where was this at?
California, Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at the Pyramid.
Okay.
So amazing experience.
So this is Adult Worlds,
Adult
IBJJF.
Worlds, yeah. And here my ass is 2007, was I 39 years old competing against adults. So I think I made it to quarterfinals, maybe the match before the quarterfinals, but it was a great time. I think I ended up paying out of pocket for about 4 people to go there, 5 people to go there. We had 10 people in a Red Roof Inn in Long Beach.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was cramped in there.
You look out the window and there's prostitutes across the street. I was like, They're like, Rich, could you have found a little better place? I was like, I
So
was trying to
hey,
be economical,
he's like we gotta fucking stay somewhere, dude.
right.
That's funny.
But
That's funny.
I think John Ricehouse, Matt Ricehouse, Aaron Rooney, Dave Copeland, BJ Copeland. Fuck. I mean, we had a lot of people in there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
IBJJF is an interesting tournament.
it is.
I competed at World's Masters for the first time this year. I've never actually competed in IBJJF before.
I didn't know you were old enough to.
30, yeah.
30? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay.
31 next month, or
Okay.
yeah, in December rather.
Okay.
But you hear horror stories about IBJJF, and all in all, I mean, it's a huge tournament. Nothing runs perfectly. I feel like, it was ran pretty well, but I definitely saw some things that made me scratch my head.
Yeah.
You hear about it like, points coming out of nowhere or referee decisions. I'm just like, whatever. Like, but then you go there and you see it, and I'm just like, holy shit, man! Like, this is like a real thing, and like it's very blatantly obvious.
They are not ready to let Americans,
Yeah,
win all the time. So,
it's really interesting. I can remember I was watching one match, and this was I think it was it was the semifinals, or it might have been the finals even. But the guy like got a takedown, had 2 points, and then that was pretty much the whole match. He controlled the guy, he set and guard for most of the time, and then but out of nowhere 2 points came for the other guy, and then the referee decision gave it to the other guy, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
right.
And that was either the finals or the semifinals, one of the two. But I'm just like, how did that? Like, where did that? It was very interesting to see. Have you come across a lot of that with IBJJF, or
Well,
what are your thoughts on them as a whole?
I think as a whole, though, the sport needs a governing body.
Yeah,
And what a better, I can't think of a better organization.
yeah. I think as a whole they're doing great.
They're doing great, but it boils. It's the referees. It's like the
Yeah,
good old boy club.
yeah,
We can look back at Tracy. Tracy sent me his match against Comprito, and I listened to you guys talk. And why the fuck were there 3 referees there? That should only be for black belts in the semifinals and the finals. There were 3 referees,
yeah,
and you know I don't know why, but they really. I mean, I love Comprito to death. He's a good friend of mine. I won't. I'll never talk ill of him. But they like to protect their own.
yeah,
And I'll say it. Yeah, you Brazilians like to protect your own.
yeah.
So but it's clearly a guard pass too.
Yeah, I didn't catch that until after. Like, I had to rewatch it because Tracy immediately passed his guard and held that, and they never gave him points for that.
I guess maybe it's a 10-second rule you have to hold it for
Maybe
now.
when
But
you're going against one of the best in the world, I guess you got to hold it for 10 seconds.
yeah, I mean it's still has a lot of things they need to work out. There needs to be more consistency with the referees.
Yeah,
I think they run it pretty efficiently.
I think so too. Yeah, it definitely is a well-ran tournament. I can't really complain. I did hear, I don't know, did you hear this? I heard that they're now, and I should have just looked it up, but I think they're now requiring everybody to register for membership. I think at one point it was just like browns and blacks, and then they extended that to purple belts.
Right.
And now I think it's like white belts and up. Everybody has to register now. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Is that the
Yes.
case?
I think they just implemented that this year, and I've had my card since I was a purple belt.
Yeah.
So paying $35-$40 each year to renew,
Is that all the renewal is?
it's $35-$40.
Is it?
I mean,
Okay.
you spend that in a week on maybe like Red Bull or Starbucks or whatever. So and what a lot of people just look at the tournament. But what they also do, I mean, they have to bracket these, and I'm sure they use some kind of computer to assist or some program. But they also do rankings. They also,
Yeah.
they keep records. I mean,
They do some pretty cool things, especially for like at the tournament in Vegas. They gave like all these like really cool. I think it was metal. They gave all these rings
I
to like
saw
all
that.
the world ranked people, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're doing that for the sport, and they're giving them their recognition and different things. So there's definitely a lot of good, but I do think it's opened up. Like it's opened up a window for the submission only tournaments. I think me personally, I kind of gravitate more towards submission only, and I've kind of seen you've seen a rise in more and more of those tournaments coming. So what do you think about those type of tournaments? Like,
Well, I'd like to see that. I mean, and I've had plenty of boring matches myself, I've never felt complete. Yeah, I won by ref's decision, no points scored,
yeah,
or I've won by an advantage. Because I almost did something. But I'm always it's a submission sport, so I'm always geared toward the submission. So yeah, they'll figure it out. I mean, jiu-jitsu in the States is still, in the IBJJF up here is, it's been here 11 years. It's still, it's still new. It's still a
it
new
is still
product.
really new if you put it
So,
like that. Yeah, 11 years. That's not very long.
and the first world tournament was in 1996. So really, that's not, that was 22 years ago.
Yeah,
So, it's still new. Somebody will figure something out. Maybe the next generation of people that take over. But I'd like to see. I don't know. I'd like to see them get rid of winning by advantages.
yeah,
The ref's decision. Send it in overtime.
yeah. Do that.
You know.
Give some sort of definitive. I just like the idea that I don't have to worry about necessarily putting myself in a bad position just because I went for a submission or I went for something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because you're gonna lose points for whatever something silly because you went for something.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
So
and there's very few of those. There's very few of those jiu-jitsu players left. You had, I think Margarita was one, Crone Gracie was one. They'd be down 18-0 and get the submission. I mean,
it's always going for the kill.
yeah, always going for the kill, but they would put themselves in those positions to go for that submission. So, yeah, I love seeing submissions.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I might start supporting, the submission only. What is EBI? Is that
Yeah, so yeah, they a lot of them typically use the EBI, the Eddie Bravo Invitational rules.
right?
He's kind of put in a pretty good rule set where they have either like 8 or 10 minute matches, just kind of depending, and then they have like the overtimes where they have the certain positions, like either I think one's the back take,
Right.
and then the other is the armbar.
Okay.
So I really do like that, but I think some of the tournaments just kind of do like a modified version of that. But yeah, yeah.
Didn't they just have one right here recently? Something similar to that, run by 10th Planet.
There was just a submission. It's called the Submission Challenge, which is run by the ISOF International Submission. I don't know. I don't know. I'm
I
messing
thought
that
that
up.
was affiliated with 10th Planet.
It might be.
Might be.
It
Okay.
might be. I really don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that one until I saw, a bunch of pictures on Facebook. I don't
Yeah.
think they promoted that very well.
Probably not.
I,
There aren't any 10th planets in this area.
there's one over in O'Fallon,
Really?
Gary Meek.
Okay. I
Gary
knew there
Meek.
was one at one point, but then I knew it closed, and I didn't know if there were any other.
No, Gary Meek was a guy that trained with us up till he was a purple belt, and he was always doing funky stuff. He had amazing flexibility. He was a Taekwondo guy also, and he left and went and set up his own shop in O'Fallon, and he's pretty much no gi. I think
Really?
they do a little gi, but yeah, he's the only 10th Planet person I know around here.
O'Fallon, Illinois, or
Illinois,
Missouri? Illinois.
Yeah, he's over by me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's very interesting that there's not a strong leg locking community in the Midwest. You see it on the coast a lot.
I'm not a big leg locker,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I
Not many people are around
no,
here.
they're not.
No.
They really aren't. And as a black belt, shit, I should, I know how to do them, but I should probably be going for, creating more opportunities for
Yeah.
for more submissions. So, and then there's a big thing right now about implementing heel hooks in the gi.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? You're not a big fan of heel hook?
I understand they have a place.
Mm-hmm.
They have a place. I don't know. I think they can do so much damage.
They really can if the person who's putting it on isn't like, if they have no regard for your safety, they can really tear your whole leg up.
And you got to think about the guy or girl. getting it done to them and not knowing how to properly defend. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a career ender right there.
Yeah.
So for the sport jiu-jitsu, I don't know. I'm still up in the air. I've never been a big fan.
Uh-huh.
I know how to do them. I've had them done to me, and I know how to defend them. Um, I don't know. Maybe it'll create. Maybe that'll solve our problem with submissions. Allowing.
Maybe, yeah. I've been playing with the legs more this year. I've never really played with them a whole lot. So Mike has showed us. He showed us just a straight ankle lock in the past, which a white belt can do that. But it wasn't until earlier in this year I went down to Austin, Texas, and I did a tournament. And I know there's a 10th planet. There's a pretty big 10th planet scene in Texas, and so I was expecting a lot of leg locks. But the first tournament I went to, I didn't really see a whole bunch of it. But I got invited back to do this invitational at. I don't know if you're familiar with the company On It. So they're based in Austin, Texas. They call themselves like total human optimization. Total human optimization is like how they kind of describe themselves. But they do like supplements, and they have like a gym, and they do like they make like workout equipment as far as like battle ropes and kettlebells and different things. But at that gym, there's a 10th planet, and they hold this invitational where they invite all these it's a no-gi invitational. And so they invite these guys down. So I got invited down there to compete, and it was like my first real exposure to like high level no-gi grappling. And I noticed a lot of them were 10th planet, and obviously there were a lot of leg locks. So like that really piqued my interest to want to start studying it and learning it. And for me, it's just been more about can I at least lock down this position? Not necessarily going for the submission or anything like that, but can I whatever it is, figure four your leg or however it is, trap you in that. So it's well, right now, I could really rip your knee off if I wanted to, but at least I have this control right now.
Right.
So a lot of people just want to jump straight for that submission, and that's the problem.
How'd you do down there?
I didn't do too well, and so I went against a real young his name is William Tackett. He's a blue belt, and he trains out of Checkmat in Austin. And this kid is sick. So I don't think I gave the tournament enough respect because it was on a Saturday, and I flew down that morning. I think I only slept 4 hours, and I flew down that morning, and I went against this young savage, and he submitted me in a DARS. I think 5 or 6 minutes in. I think 5 minutes in, and I think they were 8-minute rounds. So, hats off to the kid. The kid is savage. He, I think he won Nogi Worlds as a blue belt, and he won the absolute. And then he also, I think he took third at Adult Worlds gi as a blue. Kid is savage, man. He's 17.
17 years
Young
old.
kid, yeah. It was a real. I mean, if there's one sport that would check your fucking ego, it's jiu-jitsu, dude.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I thought I was gonna go down there. I'm a purple belt 2-stripe. I was man, I'll be fine. I'll go down there. It's just jiu-jitsu. Let's go have some fun. I didn't take it serious like I should have. And I should have went down there the night before, got good rest, and then went and competed. And this was at I think the weight was 185. He weighed in at 74.
So he didn't have to cut.
No, he was way underweight. He bumped up to a different division to do this. And this kid, I told him afterwards, dude, I'm a huge fan of yours. He went against, in the semifinals, the guy who actually won it. His name's Kyle Chambers out of 10th Planet Oceanside. Kyle's a savage. And Will Tackett was winning that entire fucking match. He was controlling him. He had his back. He was winning that entire match. Kyle is he's a veteran, and he knows how to work through those situations, and he ended up getting the submission. I mean, that's what you do. But, dude, I was holy cow, this kid is amazing. And then it's just one of those eye-openers, hey, man, you got to, if you want to do this, if you're really trying to compete, you can't half-ass this. You just can't do it. It doesn't work.
Well, thank God for the old man divisions, because these younger kids would run through us. I mean, there's probably blue belts, purple belts on the adult level that'll murder me,
Man,
I mean, and the levels that these kids are reaching these days. I mean, look at Roberto Jimenez. down in Texas, or Alliance. I mean,
Okay.
that kid was blue and purple beating black belts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a savage, and he's a brown belt now. He double gold at the Worlds at purple belt, submitted everybody.
Oh shit.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a different world. I think of the Ryan brothers that train out of in New York under Danaher. Nicky Ryan and Gordon Ryan.
Yep.
Like, I mean, Nicky Ryan is 16, I
16
think,
years old.
beating black belts, and then I think they've only been training like 7 years, I think.
Those are gym rats.
Yeah, man,
Right
and
there.
they're on the world level, just killing it. There was that recent, I can't remember the name of the tournament, but there was like a team tournament that just happened pretty recently, and Gordon Ryan's team, I think he was with Team Alpha Male on Uriah Faber's team that he put
Okay.
together, and basically their team won because Gordon Ryan won the whole thing.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is amazing.
I want to see him in the gi, though.
Yeah,
I mean, I respect what he does.
he said
and-
he's going to
and
put on the gi and compete at Worlds.
He should. He shouldn't limit himself.
Yeah,
You know, I've always been a gi guy, and I'm thinking, in my older years, maybe I should go no gi, and not limit myself. And, I've done what I've done in the gi. Let's see if I can replicate that in no gi.
yeah. Well,
know.
I think again some of that's just the culture of where we're training jiu-jitsu. There's not
True.
a big no gi community at
True.
all.
True.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you've had a lot of success in the gi, right? So
Yes.
we kind of got off track there for a second.
okay.
No, sorry. Yeah.
I'm the king of getting off track.
That's
so-
that's totally okay. That's what this is all about. There's no real track to be on, but I definitely want people to hear kind of your journey with jiu-jitsu. So, we left off your blue belt. You're training at Rodrigo's. You guys are out at Worlds. How'd you do out there?
I think, let's see. I know they called us out for the first match, and I knew who my opponent was. And, because I was that guy that would get on the internet and
looked
look.
everybody
Yeah,
up,
I'd look
huh?
everybody up. And back in '07, it was more limited because there wasn't as many resources available.
Right.
But I remember the guy that came up, he would have been, I think he was on the other side of the bracket. And the referee spoke zero English. So he's like, he points at both of us and tells us to go out on the mat. And I'm like, that's not my opponent. And he said, that's not, he said the same thing. And he kept pushing us out on the mat. And I look over, and Rodrigo is on the other side, and they're slowly, you get a big old mass of people coming over to watch us go. And I'm like, please, Rodrigo, get over here. And, this is before I spoke any Portuguese.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to say to the guy. So I went out there, and I kind of half-assed through the match knowing it wouldn't count. So, and I think the guy beat me 5-3 or whatever, so I really didn't give a shit. And we sorted that out, but it was a good warm-up.
Yeah.
And then I tore through like 3 matches, and I think I got to the quarterfinals or maybe the match before that. I mean, I had like 68 people in my division.
It's a big bracket.
So I know I got caught in a triangle, and I told myself I'd never get caught in another triangle, and I haven't since then. But, I mean, he locked it up. And
It only takes one, right?
yeah, I was almost out. So,
Oof.
and when people ask, how do you get out of a triangle, I say, don't get in it.
That's
So,
the best way. I'm listening to you. I don't know if I think this video stopped. I'm still listening to you talk, though.
But, no, we had a great time out there. Like I said, Tracy was the one. He took a third at ultra heavyweight. Shortly thereafter, we came back. He got his purple belt. Then I guess, I don't know, I probably did a few more tournaments. I did a couple up in Wisconsin, with Naga. And, again, I was at, and Rodrigo loved this because I was the guy that'd be like, hey, I'm going to go fucking compete. Let's go. I'll get Naga gave me my hotel.
Oh, yeah, because you worked all these tournaments.
Yeah, I worked at tournaments, and they didn't stick anybody else in with me. So I would
pile
load
everybody in.
everybody in, and it was great. But I mean, we did that. We did that at Arnold's. We did that all these tournaments. It was amazing. And then I don't know. I started. I don't know. We had some drama or whatever. So toward the end of the year, so I got out of jiu-jitsu. I think I stopped around December of '07. I was already a blue belt, and I set out from December of '07 to October of '09. I didn't do shit. I got fat.
2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 years. I didn't do shit. I just started, and I got in some drama, and you know, I'm not gonna rehash it, and I'm not gonna assign any blame because I probably take some of the blame, and whoever was involved, that's not even important at this time. Let's just say I learned from all the mistakes I make.
It's important to move forward.
It is. It is. Mike Rethmeyer called me up and said, "Hey, man, I knew he was over in O'Fallon at Katie Clavin's. I think it's a YMCA or a rec center.
Okay.
And he was looking to, open up a school and get out from under the place he was in. He goes, come up and train and you can help out." I think I was his highest ranked guy. I was just a blue belt. And I was like, Mike, I don't want to do this anymore. I wasn't having fun. I got involved in some bullshit, and he goes, well, I said, I'm not going to pay for something that I'm not going to have fun doing. He goes, man, you can train for free.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, that's I like that word.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when you put it that way.
I milled it over.
Need some water or anything?
No, I'm
Okay.
good. I drink Red Bull and I get jittery here. So everybody that knows me, my Red Bull habit. But I went in there, sporadically, trained. I'd get my ass beat, or somebody pass my guard, somebody submit me, and because starting over sucks.
Yeah.
Starting over fucking is
Because
horrible.
you know where you were, and you're like, I
Right.
should still be there.
Right. And when I start training again, I'm going to be doing the same thing.
It's mentally tough.
It's horrible. So I finally started supplementing my training outside of the gym with diet, with running, with, doing whatever I could
Yeah.
to, help get back in shape. And I remember the first time I competed, JW had, I think it was like one of the first state championships he had. It was in 2010, February, out in St. Charles. I had a match. And, how old was I? Fucking 41 at the time. 41 years old. I went against some guy that was like fucking 25.
Oh, how old were you? How old were you when you started the sport?
37.
Okay. Yeah, so you got in late in life anyway.
Yep. So, I won that match. It was the only match I had. And I won that match. And I remember coming off the mat. And I'm like, holy fuck. I mean, my throat's dry, my body,
Yeah,
I'm like,
forearms are all fucking burned out, dude.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
Man, you can't close your hands.
So that was rough. I was like, man, it's got to turn. It's got to turn, because I went from having so much success. I mean, I was a white belt. I was beating blue belts. And I think I even beat a purple belt. And then I was a blue belt beating purple and brown. So, I expect the same.
Right.
So I think I went to one more tournament, like the best of the something in Omaha. And I lost to some 16-year-old kid by an advantage.
Oh.
And this kid's a stud with Alliance now.
Yeah.
But I felt even worse coming off that. I was just so just, I don't know what it was, but within the next month, I put it all together, and I really, watched my diet. I mean, I thinned up a lot too, because when I came back, I was probably 240 pounds. So I was down around 215 now. I was lean. I was feeling good. I was getting my sleep. I was doing what I needed to do. Then I was like, well, let's try this Pan Am shit out. It's 2010, and go out there. And I think I stayed out there with Anthony Carlson out in Omaha. He's from Omaha under Rodrigo. And Rodrigo was there, and I forgot who else was there. But
Where were Pan Am's at this time?
that was Irvine.
Irvine?
That was in Irvine.
Is that where they always are?
Yeah.
Okay.
University of California, Irvine.
Okay.
So I got out there, excuse me, and I kicked ass. I didn't expect to go out there and fucking win it. I was like, hey, it's just another tournament. Let's go out here and compete and have fun. That was my first Pan Ams. Then I tried my luck at the Absolute. I won my first match, and then my second match, I don't know what the fuck I was doing out there, but it wasn't jiu-jitsu because I was so preoccupied with something else that I only lost like 2-0, 4-0. But I mean,
Yeah.
It wasn't me out there. It was somebody that invaded my body. So you know, after that, I started competing. Oh, let's see, I won the Chicago Open later on that year, and that's when Mike gave me my purple belt. And I was like, fuck, I'm not ready for this. I never ever wanted a belt. I never ever wanted a fucking
It
stripe.
always feels weird when you get your next promotion because it's like, ah, man, especially when it's a new belt color because you got to get used to looking at that. And then it looks new, like the belt looks fucking new.
I fucking
So
hate
I
that.
hate that new looking belt. So I just like, maybe I should just wash it to make it look, but it's like, ah, man, yeah, put that time in.
Yeah, if you get promoted from one belt to the other, and your fucking old belt looks like your new belt, you didn't fucking deserve that shit.
Oh man, like my belt looks like trash. I posted something the other day. I said I took a screenshot of I zoomed in on Rodrigo's belt, and I said my like jujitsu goes like train until your black belt turns white.
That's right.
Yeah, man, just fucking let that thing
And
fall apart.
his is pretty tattered because I think he's pretty close. I think he should be getting awarded his sixth pretty soon, 6th degree.
How long does that take to get that?
See, the first three are 3. So that's 9 years,
Yes.
5, 10, 15, 24 years.
Oh
I know
man.
he's been a black belt 24 years, so
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, man. I hope to make that.
I hope I'm alive long enough to make that. But when I won the Chicago Open as a blue belt. It was my first Chicago Open, and I remember I just fought ultra heavy just so I didn't have to cut weight.
Like whatever's easy, let's just go do this.
Exactly. So I get in the finals, and this guy's like 260, 270 pounds, and I'm probably 215. And I just remember the whole I forgot where we were even at, somewhere up in Evanston. I remember the whole venue just went quiet because I threw this guy and he hit the fucking ground.
Oh.
And the whole place went quiet, and then, a
Big thud.
certain, group of people clapped and screamed or whatever. I thought, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. But I remember after I won that, we went back up and sat down, and I had signed up for the Absolute, and Mike Rethmeyer hands me my purple belt
Yeah, at the tournament.
at the tournament. And I'm like, fuck, put that back. I don't want that. Put that back in your bag. I said, I still have to do the Absolute anyway.
Yeah.
So you're going to disqualify me from the Absolute. So, which was cool because then I won the Absolute, and fuck, I had some tough matches in that, and made some friends that I still talk to this day. And then he promoted me on the podium, and Comprito was right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I've known Comprito a long time. Then, let's see, 2011, I started gearing up, and that's when I caught that injury. So I didn't do, it kept me out of the Chicago Open before the Pan Ams. I still went to the Pan Ams. Like I said, I got to the quarters.
Yeah.
But what was more amazing was watching my buddy, win the Pans, the guy that I paid for to go out there, Dave Copeland, and see him get his purple belt upon our return.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then I sat on the shelf for 6 months, 7 months,
Yeah.
while I recouped. And
Yeah, dude, surgery never fucking. It's always a long road back.
I think I'm good for another 1 or 2 before I totally retire.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one looming there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to have my body checked out.
Yeah, man, they're doing a lot of amazing things with stem cells. Maybe we just shoot yourself with stem cells and see what kind of tissue we can regrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could use some in my knees and shoulders and elbows.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then 2012, we touched upon that a little bit. That was by far.
You just went on a tear that year.
I just went on a tear. Everything clicked.
Yeah.
Everything was going right.
That's a good feeling.
And I was meeting great people. I was training with great people.
Were you still at Mike's at this time?
I'm still at Mike's. I'm still at Rethmeyer's over in Belleville. Double gold at the Pans. I think I had like 7 matches, and in both finals I submitted. Both semifinals I had the same guy.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, this guy was fucking Nigerian. His name was shit. I can't even think of his name now. But I mean, the first one, I think I was winning 2-0. I thought I was winning 5-0. I thought I had a guard pass,
Okay.
and apparently it was 2-0 with an advantage. And right at the end, I was so fucking tired, I let the guy sweep me.
Yeah,
What a
man.
dumb fuck I was.
When you're tired though, sometimes it's just like fuck it, man. Just fuck it.
Right. Sweep me because I already have the advantage. I'm going to win. But
Yeah.
and then in the absolute sems, it was a 0-0. It was a brutal fucking match. I mean, because this guy was so strong. He was trying to throw me. I was trying to take him down. He tried to pull guard once, and I got through to pass, and he backed out. And I'm like, where the fuck's my advantage?
Yeah.
But you know, I look back at that. I wasn't even going to do the absolute after I won. I text Mike and I said, I won. He goes, all right, get ready for the absolute. I said, I don't want to do the absolute.
He said, "Well, you're doing it."
He said, I'm doing it. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm glad I made the decision. I'm glad I was pushed,
Yeah.
to,
Helps to have that coach.
yeah.
Coaches are so vital. So many people think they can do it without them.
No, they
Fucking
can't.
crazy.
They can't. No.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can do a lot of the shit on your own, but there's those little things that, he pushed me out of my comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I'm going against, I think everybody I went against, other than my semifinal guy, won their division. So, having a good coach is vital because he or she sees what you don't see
Yep.
and knows what you're capable of and what you're going to get into and how you're going to do. So then later on in the summer, I was invited to a brown and black belt open, and I was just a purple belt.
No shit. Where was that at?
That was out in Kansas City.
Okay.
So I lost in the semifinals to Ignacio Neto, and he's a Gracie Baja guy down in Texas.
Okay.
He's tough. He's a really tough guy. And if I'd have beat him in the semifinal, I made it to the semifinals. If I'd have beat him, I'd have had my professor that gave me my black belt, Leo Pecanha. Thank God I lost, because Leo would have clowned on me worse than he clowned on anyone else.
Leo's a savage.
Oh, he's a savage, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, I had a match with Ignacio that I think they were 10-minute matches, and that was something new because I was an old fucker, so I'm used to the 5 or 6 minutes, and here I have to go adult rules 10 minutes. So I think I was down 2-0 with like 3 minutes left, and he attacked that arm that I had just had surgery on. So I said, "Fuck, I'm gonna tap." So
yeah, it's better to tap than to lose that arm.
That's
man.
right. That's right. I'm thinking I have this is midway through the year, and I'm slated to go to Brazil. They had the first Masters, IBJJF Master Senior. It was called Master Seniors back then.
Okay.
So ended up winning my third place match, and then later on in the year I went to Brazil. Had great success down there. I got to train Novo União headquarters, where Jose Aldo, Leo Santos, all those guys train.
Oh, nice.
I trained with Chico Mello. He's a big Novo União, figurehead.
What part of Brazil is this?
I was in Rio.
Rio. Okay.
So, but I stayed with Pecanha. I stayed with his whole family down there. It was great. I got to train a GF team, and down there, cross training is. They don't think anything of it.
It's just what they do.
Yeah, they don't have somebody saying, "Oh, you can't go train with them."
Yeah.
It's a fucking family. How you gonna learn if you just stay in one little room?
Yeah.
You gotta get out and branch out. So
definitely helps to get those other looks whenever you can, for sure. That's the beauty about jiu-jitsu. It's a huge community, and you can go anywhere in the world and find a gym and go roll.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of the time you're welcome and you're gonna have a positive experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah, not a lot of ego in jiu-jitsu. I mean, there's definitely people there, but in general, I've just had nothing but positive experiences, especially whenever I was at Master Worlds, like just going around, just meeting like all these like world champions. Like they're just so chill and just so cool. And like I think Vitor Shaolin was sitting behind us, and like I didn't even know who he was. Like Tracy's pointing all these people out to me. I'm just like, oh fuck, like these dudes are straight killers, man.
Yeah, you had a better guide than I would have been, because he can pick those. He can pick out everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had a good guide out there. So yeah, it's a great experience, because typically you just see these guys on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and then wow, I'm standing in front of
yeah, man,
greatness.
Yeah, whoever it might be, there's just so many of them. You know what I mean? Cyborg, Jean-Jacques.
I meet someone new every time. Every time I go to a tournament, 2013, I stayed with a friend of mine, KJ, Kevin James Gonzalez,
Okay.
and I stayed at his house. And what an amazing host! Fuck, who do I have there? I got Buchecha, Marcelo Mafra, Leo Vieira, his wife, Lucas Lech. I mean, you have the Checkmat Dream Team over at his fucking house, and I'm like, I'm like a little kid.
So how did I get invited to this?
Right. Here I am, one of the old. I'm probably the oldest fucker in the house. KJ might be a little bit older than me. Sorry, KJ. But here I am, like, holy fuck. Whereas some other little kid would be going like, oh, LeBron, or.
And it's really, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that is the fucking equivalent in our sport. Like, you can't go to any other sport and, for lack of a better term, like, have like royalty of that sport.
You're absolutely
You know
right.
what I mean? Like, sitting in the crowd, talking to you, taking pictures, and happy to fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, you'll never go to any basketball game and there'll be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, whoever
Sitting
you
in
want
the
to
stands with
sit,
you.
sitting in the stands
Right.
with you, walking around, taking pictures with you. You know what I mean? No, like, no, they're in their box, or they're like right there on the sideline. Like, you can't get to them.
No.
You can't do that. You can't go to a football game and have Dan Marino like sit next to you, and it's not gonna happen.
I think Tracy brought up, it's like we went out to, they went out to eat with Hickson, but if people only knew who the fuck that was,
Yeah, holy,
if they only knew.
yeah, man,
So
that's
yeah,
crazy shit.
yeah,
That's
it's
crazy
great. And I get to meet someone, I think it was 2016 Worlds. I took bronze weight class, bronze absolute. In my quarterfinal absolute match, I did a tornado throw, what Cyborg does, and Flow Grappling posted it, and
Nice.
Cyborg saw it, and he was sitting there, we were looking, and he goes, man, that looks pretty good. That looks better than what I do. So I said, well, I highly doubt that, but
He's a thick dude, man. He's
he
big.
is. He is.
I was like, holy
he's
shit.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's got it for a big guy. He has kind of a small guy game. He can he can move
Yeah, he doesn't move like a little guy. I mean, like a big guy.
like a big guy. Yeah.
But he's just a solid ass dude. Just
That's a dangerous. Any big guy that moves like a small guy is gonna be
Right.
fucking dangerous.
yeah, yeah. So were you a black belt at that 2016? That was only a couple years ago.
16. Yeah, I got my black belt July 14. So
Okay.
yeah. 14. Yeah, I got it right before the fucking Worlds. It's like, hey, Rich, you got to come back. I'm on vacation. I'm out in South Carolina. You got to come back. We're having a seminar Saturday. I said, well, I won't be back till Sunday. We'll leave early. So I'm like,
Jiu-Jitsu will do that too. They're like, hey, listen, dude, we're doing this.
well, I call Leo up and
Yeah.
I go, hey, man, am I getting my black belt? And he goes, yeah. I said, can we do this Sunday? Yeah. So I ended up getting back Saturday night. I get my black belt the next day with Jason Smith. So, which I had trained with Jason back at Rodrigo's. And fucking went to the Worlds like a couple months after that. So
Yeah.
that was like, I wanted to win at Brown. Because, at 2013, I made a cut from super to heavyweight. And heavyweight's 208. I was like 197. So it was like, once the weight started coming off, it wouldn't fucking stop.
Yeah.
And I was eating good. And I was just, that's the best shape I'd been in since I started. So I went out there. I took third. Still wasn't happy with my performance. I should have made the finals. I made a tactical error. And first time my guard had ever been passed in a competition.
Really?
Yeah, first time my guard had ever been passed in a competition. And I pulled guard and almost flew to the guy in like fucking 20 seconds. And I went to kick to sit up, and I kicked a grip out of my hand, and he passed. And he almost submitted me about 3 times. I mean, he had that choke. And I don't know how the hell I got out of it, but I got out of it. Butterfly sweep, and I went to pass, and we were out of bounds. So then he had me in lockdown, which I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're just stuck.
but I wasn't happy with that performance at all. 2015, I went out. I think the next year, 2015, was I at Ultra? I think I was at Ultra again.
Shit, dude.
And 2 years in a row at Ultra. And same thing. I fucking kicked the grip out of my fucking hand. That's when I realized I had dislocated my shoulder or
Oh yeah.
collarbone. I forgot what they fucking told me. I mean, it was sticking up about 2 inches.
Oh wow.
It was nasty, and so it had totally just made my left arm useless. So I mean, my bicep had shrunk, my forearm had shrunk. I started having wrist problems. I started having grip problems. So therein lies the reason why my guard was getting passed, because I was kicking out of that omoplata and losing that grip.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, 2016 was the last time I competed at a big tournament, and that was the Worlds, and lost in the semifinals against my old nemesis, Chris Howe. He's my buddy, so
Yeah.
I say nemesis jokingly. But yeah, that was my last big tournament, and just after that, I just really, I don't know, I lost the desire.
Yeah.
I became very stagnant. I became very negative. I don't know. I wasn't doing the right things. I wasn't making the right decisions. I was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
So I was miserable where I was at.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping to come out of that soon.
Yeah. It definitely happens, man. You definitely have to want it. I did that with MMA. I mean, I fought for almost a decade, and I tore my labrum and my rotator cuff, and I had surgery, and then that was like, I mean, it was almost a whole year. It was a whole year between fights because of that. So like the whole time, like I'm thinking about it. And, like I did want to fight, and then I had a great training camp. Everything went really well. But then like I got into the cage and I was fighting. I'm just like, I don't even like this. Like I don't even want to be here. I just, for some reason, it was really weird. Like I just lost the drive, and lost that fight against a really good dude. His name is Zach Bucia. Good fighter, but I took another fight 6 months later after that. Same thing. I went through an awesome training camp, but like through the whole time, like I was never really pumped. It was almost like I was just going through the motions.
Right.
And like I would train, and like I basically stopped sparring because like I started worrying about my brain too much. Like I didn't want to get hit in the head. So it was just like once you don't mentally want it anymore, like it's really weird, you know what I mean? Like once that switch goes off, for me anyway, it's like time to move on. You know what I mean? Like once you start worrying about the wrong shit,
Right.
at least for fighting.
Right. No, I mean, I lost the desire to fight, a long time ago sparring when Mike Stocker, who now is one of the you probably see him at your fights. He's one of the state officials.
Oh, okay.
Now I used to spar with him, and that fucker would not hold back, and he
Yeah.
dropped me 2 and 3 times, and that's when I lost my desire, and that was years ago. That's
Yeah.
before I even jiu-jitsu was even in my mind. I
Yeah.
wanted to kickbox and box, and I boxed as a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
As my grandpa was Golden Gloves. But when I started boxing with him, it was fun. Just sparring, hitting mitts, and then he's like, "Okay, let's go." And first time out there, I caught him. And he just fucking waylaid me and dropped me, and his wife's yelling at him.
Yeah.
And so I did that about 2 more times. I said, you know what? Fuck, I do not like to get hit.
It sucks.
It sucks. You put me in a street fight, I don't give a fuck. In a ring, you have to maintain your composure.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it. There's fucking no way. I just couldn't do it. But on the street, I would rather fucking just street fight. That's how I grew up.
A little rowdy.
Yeah, I've been martial arts my whole life, and I fought my whole life, and my dad basically said, "Fuck, you go out there and fight. You just kill that motherfucker.
Really?
You bite their fucking face off. You do whatever the fuck you need to do.
You win."
Yeah, you do whatever you.
Yeah, that's what Bruce Lee used to say. You couldn't just like fucking elbow them, hit them in the nuts, hit them in the eyes, fucking
bite their nuts
them.
off. Fuck.
He's
yeah.
like in the streets. That's what wins.
Yeah. And I know that's, you can't build a career fighting in the streets. I mean, it's
Definitely
gonna
not.
cost you more money, but those were my wilder days. But yeah, I have the utmost respect for the guys that can get in there and just and train and take the blows to the head, the gut,
Yeah.
the kicks, the knees, the elbows. Fuck.
Yeah, man. I'd much rather just train a grappling sport, which is what I do.
Right.
Yeah, which is what I do because I couldn't even like unless like I mean I think it's a good skill to have, know how to fight, right? Throw punches, throw kicks, different things. But like I used to teach Muay Thai and teach kickboxing and stuff like that, and yeah, it's just so hard on the body to train that. You know what I
Very
mean?
hard.
Like you're getting kicked all the fucking time, and I'm kind of torn because it does like toughen your body up. You know what I mean? Because the body becomes soft if it's not taking punishment.
Right.
But dude, sometimes you kick it. You ever kicked an elbow? Dude,
Absolutely.
you kick an elbow, you get this deep ass bruise in your shin. Every time we alluded to it like when we started first talking. You're always training hurt. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
you quickly learn the difference between being injured and being hurt. At least I did. You know, growing up playing sports, and you're never fucking 100%. Like you're always training hurt, essentially.
Well, you have to, because you'll never evolve if you don't.
Exactly.
That's what I tell people. Oh, why weren't you at practice? Oh, I was hurt. I got a hangnail. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, man.
I've trained with bum knees, bum shoulders. Now, I did have a very bad back problem the past couple of years. And, back, neck, you really got to watch
You
that.
got to be
But
careful for sure.
there's a lot of injuries you can train with. And that's what I tell, you know, what do you tell younger people? Well, train without expectation. Don't use rank as a goal and fucking train through your injuries. But don't hide them. Come out and say, hey, coach, I have this.
Yeah.
Because chances are I have a remedy for that. Here, let's tape this, or let's do this, or let's just have you do technique and not
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to train
fuck.
without killing yourself.
Exactly. You can still do fucking technique.
Yeah.
Or, we'll figure out a way to keep you going and keep you moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between like a serious injury that we really, fuck man, you need to sit out. We gotta handle this, and if you're just a little hurt, we can
Right.
figure it out. You know your body well, so let's
It's like you said, hurt. Are you hurt or are you injured?
yeah,
So,
like let's work through that. But man, when you get those deep bruises on your shin and then you kick again, and then it's just like you feel like your whole shin just shattered.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just all this pain just shoots and radiates through your leg. It's like, oh my god, it's just the worst pain, dude. The worst pain. I'm sure there's a lot of bad pain.
well, I'd like to see MMA go back toward what it was, in the first UFC, second UFC.
Oh, really?
I mean, and I'm not knocking anybody, and I'm not knocking the sport or any fighter, but you get how many months between a fight, or how long's a camp?
Yeah.
Do that and fucking fight multiple times. Go back to the original where
More like a tournament
yeah,
style.
tournament style.
Multiple fights in a night.
Fuck yeah, let's see who's really fucking tough then.
You got to be tough. I wouldn't be doing MMA if that were the case.
No, but look at how much
But
the
there are
sport's
people
evolved.
out there who do.
Yeah, look at the sport, how the sport's evolved though. You were getting, Hoist in that big fucking Hawaiian, and Keith Hackney and Gerard Gordeau, Remcar Pardue, all different disciplines. So, and that's what lured me into jiu-jitsu. You saw what won.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that probably the tournament format. I'd like to see. I'd like to see them go back to that, but I don't think it would. I think it'd be short-lived.
Yeah.
I think somebody would end up dying.
Well, some people do that, and I know Bellator started out on the tournament system, but they did it like over multi-nights. But I mean, Pride, they had a lot of those multi-night tournaments, and I think
Pride. I love Pride.
man, they were I mean, they're the Wild West. Like they encouraged steroid use and just crazy fights. But I think Bellator did a one-night kickboxing tournament not that long ago, and yeah, man, it makes for an exciting night and some tough sons of bitches for sure, man.
Yeah, whoever comes out. I mean, especially the way the fighters are today. Whoever comes out of that,
Yeah,
I don't want to see in a fucking dark alley.
never.
Fuck no.
No, yeah, it's just with that, it's just so weird because your first fight maybe it's an easy one, maybe it's not. If you have a all-out war, your first fucking fight, and then maybe your next opponent didn't.
Right.
Yeah, that makes for an interesting dynamic. But hey, man, how bad do you want it?
That's right. So, but I mean, we come across that in our tournaments here.
Yeah,
We get a no-show or somebody that doesn't make weight, and then I'd rather be the guy that has the match. So I'm warmed up. But
Yeah.
in MMA, it'd be a little different because
yeah, it can be a little bit different.
yeah, you're going from a grappling match to a all-out, feet, hands, knees, elbows.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So listen, man, Mike was telling me that you speak 4 languages.
Who was telling you that?
Mike Rogers.
He was
How many languages do you speak? I heard you say Portuguese just now.
okay. English, German, and I am by no means fluent in all these right now. At one time in my life, I was.
You can get by though if you're somewhere.
I can get by. English, German, Portuguese, Spanish, Arabic. I spoke a little Japanese, Filipino, Tagalog. Then I spoke a few dialects from the Philippines, Bicolano, Chapacano, and I guess a little Ilocano. So
It's like 10 languages, dude.
I think it's 7 or 8. I don't know. And, you know, my mom spoke, you know, I grew up in a multilingual house. I mean, my parents and grandparents, you know, German, Arabic, French, you know, you're hearing 4 different languages in one, you know, at one family reunion.
Yeah, that's a melting pot.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So, but you know, the other day I ran into I think I posted this on Facebook, and I ran into a lady at Target, and she's Palestinian. Her little kids are looking at me. So I you know, waving at me, and so I start speaking Arabic, and I was like, "Inti tarif Arabi?" And they were like, you know, so, "Do you speak Arabic?" And they're like, "Holy fuck!" So
yeah, shocker.
I get to talking with the mother, and she goes, "Oh," she goes, "You know, I was just in the Middle East, and we were just talking about our travels and our experiences." And she said, "You know, but although I'm Palestinian, I'm from Brazil. I was born and raised in Brazil." I go, "Get the fuck out of here! How crazy!" And so
Yeah.
I started speaking to her Portuguese. She near shit herself. So and she goes, "Yeah, where do you like to go?" I said, "Well, you know, I like Rio, but I like the South. You know, I like to I like to get all around." And
Explore.
she goes, "Yeah, I lived in Paso Fundo." And I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." I said, "My family, you know, I have a lot of family lives in Nong Metoke, Paso Fundo, Carazinho, and they're all 3 cities within, you know, within a certain, you know, they're not, you know, 30-minute drive to each." I'm like, "Holy fuck, this is crazy." So, it's definitely made my life more interesting, you know, because, you know, especially in today's political climate, you know, I see someone from the Middle East and I go out of my way to talk to them. I just start, you know, talking to them in Arabic, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
You know, this is crazy. So
Especially around this part of the world.
yeah. So I just, you know, I like learning about other cultures. I like, you know, learning about other people. I like conversing with them. You know, I'm not a xenophobe. You know, fuck, you know, if you want to migrate to our country, just do it legally is all I ask. But, you know, I like experiencing. I mean, if we were all just a bunch of pasty pale white people, how fucking boring would that be?
Yeah,
know?
well, I mean, even that's an illusion, right? Because you just said that you like your grandparents are from like all these different spots, right?
Right.
So it's like even that's an illusion. We're all kind of a mix of things.
We're all, I mean, I should do my ancestry. I've been thinking about doing my ancestry DNA and seeing, you know,
Yeah.
I probably got some crazy shit in there I don't know
Who
anything
knows?
about.
Yeah,
So,
who knows?
you know, American Indian, who knows, you know.
Were you in the military?
Yeah, I was in the military.
Okay. Did they I guess was that kind of a part of like a driving force, like learning additional languages for you, like kind of traveling and
Yeah, just where I was stationed, you know, I'd try to adapt to the language, you know, just to be able to, you know, communicate. So, you know, you want the experience to be the best possible.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I don't know. I'd like to. I was actually just online the other day looking up like language institutes in the area, because I was like, I want to revisit and rectify or resurrect some of these languages I've lost.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you have to use it.
maybe, you know, I even dabbled in a little Russian too. I got a Russian tailor, so I like coming in there with new phrases and
Yeah.
shit like that. So, and but you know, I still remember a lot of Tagalog. I can read and understand Spanish. I'll get on Al Jazeera every now and then in Arabic and listen and try to, you know, but there's only so much time in the day. There's so much
only
shit I like to do
Yeah.
in so little fucking time that it's like, God, you know, and right now I'm I'm held hostage right now by a almost 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's really, I mean, I haven't trained since May, so I've trained a little bit in between then, but I just
Well, life definitely happens, right?
it does. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining. I know things will turn around. I know I'll get back on the mats. Hopefully by the end of the year,
Mhm.
because I'd like to ramp up and get ready for 2019.
Mhm.
I have a few things on my bucket list that I want to check off. I've won 4 Pan Am titles, blue, 2 at purple, 1 at brown. I want the black belt pan title.
Oh, for sure.
I won. Let's see. I got 2 world championships at purple, a bronze at purple. I have a bronze at brown. I have 3 bronze at black. I want the black belt world title too.
Yeah, that's the fucking pinnacle right there.
And and people are like, "Oh, you can do that because you're fucking old. You're master 4. You're master 5."
They don't even know.
Mario you got guys that have been black belts, twice as long as I've been, 3 times as long as I've been doing jiu-jitsu,
Yeah. Yeah.
that are complete monsters.
People don't understand, like, once you hit that black belt level in jiu-jitsu, it's not a fucking Kempo karate black belt.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, a very small percentage of the world get that. And an even smaller percentage of those guys are elite and actually competing still. So the people you're going against are like, those aren't fucking pushovers, man. Like, these are the guys who are in here doing it.
No. Look at Megaton. He's shit. How old is he? I'm not going to quote how old he is because I don't know. So I mean, he's master 5, so he's over 50 years old.
Yeah.
He's competed at every adult world championships since they started in '96. He said he's going to do it until I think there's 25-year mark.
Oh, really?
He's going to compete up to his 25th time and then he's done. But I mean, and that guy, he still goes out there and gets it.
Yeah.
He might win a match or two, but I mean, that guy's amazing. So I've never gone against him, and I hope this year I can get a chance to, I'm envious. Tracy got to go against Comprito.
Yeah, what other sport do you get to do that?
No, you can't. I can't just go get a pickup game of basketball and fuck, there's Kobe Bryant right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Let's play tag football and here's, whoever the fuck plays football. I don't follow sports.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even watch. I don't watch sports, and people think you're weird when you don't. It's man, I can only consume so much, man. There's too much fucking information, dude.
Right.
There's only so much to learn. Like you said, like I want to do so much. I want to start bow hunting, and I know I just need to quit talking about it and be about it and go buy a bow. But I know once I do, it's going to consume my life. Like, to do archery, like, you have to be good at it. Like, it takes a lot of time. You have to practice, like, every day.
Absolutely.
And to be able to get up on an animal and with a bow, I mean...
That's a skill, right? Anybody can pull a trigger, but...
Yeah.
To level off a bow and an arrow...
I mean, you have to be... I mean, I would say probably a safe shot at the furthest. I mean, for somebody like me, I would like to be able to work up, like, 30 to 40 yards away, probably be a safe shot. But that'd be really pushing it, you know what I mean? Ideally, you want to be in that 20 to 30 yard range. Like, you got to be fucking close to that animal.
You got to smell like that animal.
Yeah. Yeah, man, there's just only so much time in the day is really my only point. But yeah, you're staying super busy. I don't want to like pry too much, but I know you are doing a lot of things like with your daughter right now. What does she have, like is it a cancer or?
No. You can ask. I'm free to talk about it. It's the people that look and mumble and stare and and I've only had that happen on a few occasions. But
yeah, I was kind of like reading your Facebook a little bit, and I saw you had mentioned like you had to change her trach, and I just wasn't really quite sure like what that was for, like kind of what her situation was.
That's her only means of breathing right now. So when she was born, and she was a term baby, 39 weeks. She had a couple DSAT episodes where her O2 levels, went down before she was even taken from the hospital. And so I was like, what the fuck's going on here? I don't need, nobody wants or needs this shit.
Yeah, that's some scary shit.
And just to say this, there's a lot of people out there with far worse problems with their children than mine. So I'm grateful for what she has and what could,
What could be.
yeah, I
But
see
you hate
all.
to see fucking kids
I
go through
fucking,
anything like this,
man,
man.
I tear up. I'm not gonna lie. I can't. I can't stand seeing kids suffer
Yeah,
in
man.
in it- in anything.
It's just
Kids
heartbreaking.
starving, kids being abused, kids having congenital defects, and but no, she was born and she had laryngomalacia, which is a floppiness in the airway in the larynx. So
Okay.
at about 10 months, they did the supraglotoplasty and cut that floppiness out. So then after that, slowly she started having episodes where she'd get upset. You know how kids are, fucking cry over everything. Um, if you didn't grab her in time and console her, you know, her vocal cords would paralyze and she'd fucking pass out.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So you talk about scary.
Yeah.
And thankfully they would relax as soon as she passed out and she would come back too.
Hmm.
So it just progressively kept getting worse. And I think in the interim, before we took her in May 9th of this year, she had two other procedures. I think they were just DLBs where they'd go in and scope and check around, look around and see what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And so they decided, had three options. They could do a posterior anterior cricoid split, where they cut the top and the bottom of the airway and open it up. And typically those are done one at a time.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people in the ICU were like, I've never seen these both done at the same time. But
So they did them both at the same time?
yeah, they did
as opposed to doing two separate
the
surgeries?
posterior and the anterior, and so they opened it up, and I think they went in there a couple days later and ballooned it up to open the airway, and it took that was May 9th, and fucking 28 days later we get out of there. It's supposed to be like 10 days, and we're out of there. She developed staph in her lungs. So she was on antibiotics. So before they could go back in there, they had to clear up the staph.
Fuck yeah, that's no joke,
It's a
man.
fucking nightmare. I mean,
Yeah.
thank God it wasn't MRSA.
Yeah.
It would have even been worse. But
So she contracted that from the hospital?
yeah, which is
Pretty common.
it's pretty common.
Fortunately.
So I was pissed at first, and then I talked to some people, and Cardinal Glennon's staff is fucking amazing. I mean, the nurses up there on point. You know, the doctors are amazing. I mean, they became an extended family, really. I mean, as long as we were up there.
Yeah.
But took her out of there. 28 days. Get her home. Her breathing got worse. Fuck. Take her back in. It was a Saturday, and they had to do the posterior or a graft. They had to cut, make an incision, take part of her cartilage, and use that to open up the airway. So they did that. That surgery went well. Then they went back in there a day later. The graft was still, everything was alive and working well and doing well. I think we stayed there 5 days, got out, back 6 days later for a follow-up. They go in there, everything looked good, but her breathing was shitty. You know, she was retracting. She was still stridulous, or
Okay.
like that. Retracting is when you suck in. You suck really deep in the chest. Strider is that wheezing sound.
Okay.
So, get her back to the room, and she desatted twice, like in the 20s and 30s.
What's DSAT mean?
Desat her. Your oxygen level in your blood should be 100%. But
Oh, so like her
in
level
the
just dropped
90s
really
to
low.
100. Yeah,
Okay.
it depends on on the person. I saw some people in the ICU that their normal blood, their O2 sats were 60%.
Oh wow.
Fuck, you
Yeah.
definitely couldn't be in sports, but I mean, they had to bag her a couple times. I mean, I'm giving you the Reader's Digest version here, but they had to bag her a couple times. Her breathing was so bad.
Yeah.
But the option was, to take her out of the hospital now, you have to trach her.
Oh.
So I'm like, just do it. I didn't even think about it. I said, just fucking do it. So they did it. It went well. I walked in the room, and I'd never cried like a pussy so bad in my life. I mean, I she was still out. So, I mean, I told everybody, get the fuck out of my room.
Yeah.
Well, get the fuck out of my kid's room.
Yeah.
The one nurse, I knew somebody had to stay, but I told her, just get the fuck out of here. I needed to digest this. It was hard, man.
Yeah, to walk in and see that for the first time.
It was brutal, man. And, but you know what? You know what brought me out of it? Her.
Yeah.
Fucking 2 days later, she's running down the hall.
Like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened.
Yeah.
She was able, instead of, the trach, comes out here in the neck, and then you put a valve on it to humidify the air so you don't get dried out, and there's no risk of the trach plugging.
Okay.
Because if it plugs, you got to yank that fucker out and put another one in. But to get her to talk, you put a passive valve on, which allows intake, allows her to inhale through the trach, but to exhale, she's got to go
through her mouth.
Through her nose or mouth. So that means it's got to go through the
Through
vocal cords.
Okay.
So, and it's squeaky. It's a funny little voice, but she was able to talk without the passive. And she's talking now. She's intermittent. It just depends on the vocal cords and how dry she is, and there's a lot of factors. But yeah, it's been a fucking roller coaster. I've had to save her life about 3 times, and I mean, no, I'm not trying to sound like a fucking hero. I mean, that's my job, is to keep my kid or anybody for that matter, from dying. But she woke up the other night with heavy secretions, and you have to suction. You use suction catheters, and she just couldn't breathe, and you could just hear it. And I popped that valve off, and that shit was just leaking out. And she was panicked, but she let me do my work. Mm-hmm. And her O2 sats were down like 50s. I think it was like 52. I kept looking at it. I go, if you hit 49, I had the trach ready to go. So I was just going to clip the ties and pop the new one in and hold it there and wait till she settled down and then secured it. But man, it's, I don't sleep.
How can you, man?
When we were in the hospital for 45-day ICU, they ordered me to go home and sleep because I just didn't sleep, and I was aggravated. I was times combative, and it wasn't anything personal. It's just, right. I'm worried about my kid. I want you guys to make the best decisions. I hadn't slept. I wasn't eating. I was eating like shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of compounding factors there, and sleep being a huge one. Huge. And then you compound with the stress. Holy shit, man. I could not, I couldn't really imagine a situation to where you are going to be calm after a certain amount of time of that amount of stress.
I've learned a lot. I've learned so much. I started looking at life differently. I started looking at people differently. I started looking at myself differently. Make some more positive changes. Mm-hmm. I'll never be perfect, but I always strive for perfection. I think Tracy said that too. But I tell my kids that. I tell my kids that all the time, and I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. Put the passive valve on last week, and her O2 sat stayed at 100 for like 10 minutes.
Nice.
I said, okay, let's do that for 20 minutes. Let's do that incrementally and see what happens. But I have to take her out to Cincinnati Children's in November, and they're the innovators, and they're the experts in airways and vocal cords. So hopefully they can offer me some hope.
Yeah, some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, man. Well, they're doing a lot of amazing things with medicine, that's for sure. And this is definitely one of those times where you just got to really appreciate a lot of the advances that we've made. So yeah, hopefully they got something for you. Take that trip, man. Well, it's a good reason to take some time away from jiu-jitsu for sure.
It is, but man, it's just like, I stand there in the window and I'm looking out and I'm going, I miss jiu-jitsu, and I'm thinking, is it looking out the window missing me too? Does it miss me as much?
Yeah, I always tell people, well, it's not going anywhere. It's always there.
It's always there.
That's always the beauty of it.
And not to be a drama queen or get attention or anything like that, but I talk to people about it. It's like, I talk to Ezra, because I train under the Lennons, Zach, Levi, and Ezra. I've talked to Tony Biondo. I've talked to Mike Rogers. I've talked to Leo Pecanha. And man, you talk about support. Leo Pecanha's like, fucking jiu-jitsu needs you. You know, I like what he's saying there, but jiu-jitsu really doesn't need me. But I need it more than it needs me. So, I'm looking for a little light,
Yeah.
just so I can jump into a class, and I go up and train at the head nod squad with they're the closest to me. Well, Brazilian Mike's closest to me, but we went our separate ways in back in 2015. So, and that's nothing I need to get into. So I forgive and forget, and hopefully, anybody I've ever crossed paths with negatively can forgive and forget. I don't hold any grudges. But I got the head nod, man. I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I love those guys.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of good things over there. I haven't had a chance to check out their space, but
You should go out there.
yeah, I know that Josh McKinney owns that.
And his father, Steve McKinney.
Yeah.
So I mean, you talk about good people. And,
Yeah.
and Steve's a pastor,
Oh, okay.
but you know what? He can. I can come to him so negative and talk about my problems, and when I leave after talking to him, it's like, what the fuck was I? What was I complaining about? What was the problem? And he doesn't have to push religion down my throat to get the point across. He's so gifted in
Yeah.
how he can speak to people, and just what a positive influence. I mean, he's just so positive.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
key.
I just when I'm around him, I don't feel like I'm worthy to be around him. I'm serious. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's really hard to find people who are strong in their faith and you don't feel like they're judging you. So anytime you can, and it's just all positivity, that's a great environment to be in.
and he's not judgmental at all.
Yeah.
And Josh, I mean, and they got a great school out there. They have a great environment out there. Everybody's welcome. I think they're going to outgrow their space really soon.
It's a good problem to
That's
have.
a great problem to have, and I think they're preparing for it. I've talked to them a little bit, and I've sent about 10 people up to them. But man, they're just great people. I mean, Josh is hilarious. So he's funny as hell, and but their knowledge, I knew Josh was good, and I never really trained with him, and but they both surprise me at how knowledgeable they are, and Steve likes a lot of the stuff I do, and I like a lot of the stuff Steve does, and so the
Yeah.
times we can get together, which are very few. But I'm gonna make room for more. But we just sit there and collaborate, and I mean they're just great people. But there's great schools all around.
Yeah.
Mike Rogers. I do anything for Mike. Kyle Watson, JW. Just had JW. I call and talk to him every now and then. They're just good resources. They're good people.
Yeah, there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu in St. Louis.
They're not selfish. And Rodrigo. I mean, Rodrigo's the OG of St. Louis. He's still here, going strong with a good team. So and forgot Ezra. Sorry, Ezra. Ezra. Under Jesse Finney, at Jesse Finney's place. So, but yeah, there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu out. Oh, fuck! What am I forgetting? Heath Pedigo.
Heath Pedigo.
Fucking what a fucking genius.
Yeah, he's a little further from St. Louis, but he's close
That's
enough.
okay. That's okay. I would be. I would have kicked myself in the ass if I'd have walked out of here without talking about him. Holy fuck.
Yeah, Heath the Savage. They do a lot of good stuff up there.
Look at that. I mean, what's the population up there? Fucking, it's Mayberry.
Yeah.
Mount Vernon.
There's not a lot of people up there,
No,
but there's a
they're
lot of
not.
world champions coming out of that gym.
Oh my God! Heath is a fucking genius. That's all. He's the Fabio Andrade, and Fabio is Marcio Andre Izaki.
Okay.
That just won the worlds at medium or middle. He's their coach. He's got a place in Bangu in Rio.
Okay.
But Heath reminds me of him. He's just putting out all these people. He's like, you want to win? I can do it.
It's true, man.
I mean, look at
they
Andrew,
got a good gym
Andrew
up there.
Wiltsey. And Andrew, if you're listening to this, I shit you not. I have not forgot about you. I'm going to fucking talk to this lawyer and get your goddamn passport. There is no reason why you need to be held hostage in the United States and not be able to travel. He can't get us.
Oh,
He
really?
can't get it. Yeah, it's his passport because of some bullshit. And he's done everything in the world to prove that, this guy was born here. Come
Oh,
on.
fuck,
He's
man.
got a social
I
security
did not
number.
know that.
Yeah. And maybe I shouldn't have said anything. I don't know. I don't think it's a secret, but I was just with during the PGA, and I think there was some elections and shit going on.
Oh, were there?
Yeah, when the PGA was in town.
Yeah, PGA Tour came here to St. Louis probably a few months ago.
Right. So I was bodyguarding Julio Gonzalez, who runs engineered tax servicing out of Miami, New York, Washington D.C. He is Trump's man for tax reform.
Okay.
He works directly with him in Congress on tax reform. So I bodyguarded him for the time he was in town, and I met former Senator John Loudon, who works with them also, and he gave me a lawyer's name that could help Andrew out.
Oh.
So, and I've been in contact briefly with the guy, but with how, with the way my life is right now, I'm easily sidetracked. I mean, just talking to me right here, you can see that.
No, you're good, man.
I'm like a fucking scent dog, I catch a different scent and I'm going in the...
We gotta go after that. Squirrels.
Right.
Well, yeah, man. Hopefully that shit pans out.
Yeah, and it's about giving back to people. I don't mind, I'd go compete here, but I can't afford it. Fuck, what is it? $70, $80? Here it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got a lot of fucking medical bills for my kid, but that's just outside of my normal budgeting that, I have to find ways to pay that. But I still have enough, that if I'm not paying a medical bill, I can help people. I like helping people out. So it's fun. And it's not to fill the gaps, it's because I truly, it's not to fill any character flaws and make myself feel better. It's because I honestly, I really like helping people. I'll stop if you're on the road and side of the road. I'll help you with the fucking change your tire, male or female. I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever I need to do. You need a sandwich? Yeah. I'm not going to give you money for alcohol, but I'll buy you some fucking food.
Yeah.
We'll do that. It's just, we lost sight of that as a human race. So it's good to show people that, hey, there's still people out there.
Yeah.
That care. So.
Well, we definitely need people like that, man. We need a lot more positivity in the world, because if you look at the news, it'll say otherwise. So.
Right. And if you believe, I mean, you're getting 15 to 20% of really what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's done by design. It's to pit, the left and the right against each other, and the left wing and the right wing are part of the same bird. So.
Very true. Very true.
We're so divided. I mean, 9/11. Look at 9/11. That brought us all together. If there was another 9/11 right here, we wouldn't come together, because one side would be blaming the other side for it. And I mean, we're just so far gone right now.
Strange times, man.
Yeah, I stopped posting about politics. I'll comment every now and then and just be an asshole.
Yeah.
But I don't want politics on my page. I don't want anything negative on my page.
Yeah, I'm all about the positivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it. I mean, it cost me friends the last election. It cost, because I'd go overboard. I'd do shit just for shock value to piss people off and stuff. I know this can get under his or her skin, and it's just not worth it. I don't care what your political beliefs are. Just don't force them on me. I don't care if you worship Allah.
Yeah. Let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, or God or whoever. Just we can coexist without any of the other bullshit. I mean.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, and that's where this whole I've just been trying to get positive. I have to stay positive right now for my baby.
That goes a long way, man. With healing and growing, I mean, just thinking positive and all the positive energy. Yeah, absolutely.
Negativity drains you.
It really does.
And I've seen that.
It'll steal your joy. It doesn't help anything. 100%. Well, Rich, this has been a great conversation, man. I really appreciate you taking the time.
I want to talk more.
No, we could keep going,
I'm
man.
Just kidding. Well, I mean, if I cut you off on anything, feel free to, go back.
Oh no, you're good, man. You're good. So if folks want to get a hold of you, or is there any, if anything, I'll give floor is yours. If there's like any way, if you wanted to like plug any socials or anything you want to talk about, any way people can say hi, ask questions, anything like that. No, yes.
What, like on Facebook or?
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to direct people to your socials to connect with you. If not, no
Yeah, I
worries.
mean,
It's totally up to you.
you can catch me on Facebook. My Richard Graeff, Graeff. I'm on Instagram. Excuse me. I'm on Twitter, but Twitter is, you don't want to be on my Twitter. That's where I take all my politics. Is a
Okay.
Twitter, and typically I just get on there and troll, you know. But
Master troll.
I mean, you can call me 314-704-5827. I'm not hard to get a hold of. But again, to everybody out there that's training the right way and doing things the right way, that's what I like to see. Keep jiu-jitsu pure. I see too much shit getting watered down. Shout out if you guys would do this Fieldcraft Survival. They're trying to get a show started on Discovery. It's called Battle Tested. Mike Glover and Kurt Hohan. They were both 3rd Special Forces guys. They got a great company. They make great products, and they're trying to get the show off the ground with Discovery. So they did a pilot. It's called Battle Tested.
Okay.
Check it out if you like it. Fucking tweet or
Yeah.
tag them on some type of social media. Also check out All Secure Foundation, Tom Satterley, rehabilitating special operations vets. They just had the 21st anniversary of the Battle of Mogadishu, and Tom is all over the planet discussing a lot of things, mainly how to cope with, leaving the military and PTS, TBI, and all that. So those are my plugs. AllSecureFoundation.org, and then Fieldcraft Survival you can find on Facebook or Instagram.
Cool.
So, but those are my 2 plugs. And Head Nod Squad, I love those guys out there. But as a whole, I love all you guys out there in jiu-jitsu. I like to see your successes. I have my heroes I worship in jiu-jitsu, but I mean, when somebody in St. Louis does good, we all do good.
Yeah.
So other than that, I appreciate you having me on here, man. It's the first time I ever did it. So I did a podcast. I sat there jotting down notes and started thinking to myself, well, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
So, I like it. I had fun. So
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, man.
fuck yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
this is a great conversation.
It was good. I appreciate you having me out. We'll have to get together and train when
Yeah,
my
let me know,
fat
man.
ass. I'll come out here if you're out at Mike's. I'll come out and train. Or have you over the Head Nod Squad or
Yeah.
wherever. I think you should check it out. But
Yeah, I'd definitely have to check out their space. I know they do some open rolls on the weekends, so I
yeah,
think
Sunday 10
have to take a drive out there
10:30 or
sometime.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's well worth it. So, but no, I really appreciate you having me on, and now I get to go take care of my fucking kids again.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is always fun.
Always fun. All right, brother. Well, everybody, until next time.